Now, I have spent countless days and hours trying to wrap my head around how to budget, how to start, what are bank accounts that I need, and how I'm going to run my life. And holy moly, I'm just relying on myself now, and I need to have savings, and I need to know where every cent of my money is going, and I need to do a budget. How can I create more income and make more money? So I've had my head in the sand, no more. If you don't know where your money's going, you're just setting yourself up to fail. It is honestly scary. There's no magic pill to get out of it. Dealing with your money, it's very confronting. Hey guys, it's Mel. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am a full-time used bookseller and I sell my books on eBay. I basically go out to the thrift shops, I go to Facebook Marketplace, Deceased Estates, anywhere that I can get used books, I'm looking to buy them to be able to flip them online and make some extra money. So that's my full-time job on this channel. I vlog my life as I do that and all aspects of that, the highs and the lows. But more recently as well, I'm starting to talk a little bit more about money and financials because I've recently, in the last 18 months, going through a divorce. I've gone from being a secondary income earner in a relationship that I was in for 20 plus years to coming out of that relationship and, only having myself to rely on for my money. And it's been a huge life change for me. And I'm really on this big financial journey of learning how to become financially independent again and going from a level of income that really wasn't enough as a full-time, it was only a part-time wage, to being able to build that income up to make it a full-time income. And I'm still on that journey. I'm still not where I need to be. For me, one of the next steps was learning to track my income, learning to track my expenses, create a budget. It's something that I've never done before, guys. I've never used a fancy schmancy budget that you can see here behind me that I'm about to show you exactly what I'm doing. But I've never done that. I've never tracked my daily expenses. I've kind of just been one of these people that money's come in. We've kind of always lived pay to pay. Never really had any extra for savings. I've always kind of lived in that way. But now that I'm solely relying on my own income, there's been a real shift in my mindset around money, and holy moly, I'm just relying on myself now, and I need to have savings, and I need to know where every cent of my money is going, and I need to do a budget. So start of May has been a perfect time for me to do a clean slate because a couple of weeks ago my financial settlement just went through finally, and I've now got a clean slate to work with. So it's the perfect time for me to start fresh and get this going. Now, I have spent countless days and hours trying to wrap my head around how to budget, how to start, what are bank accounts that I need, and how I'm going to run my life. So I have watched so many YouTube videos, I've listened to podcasts, I've been reading audiobooks. Honestly, for the month of April, every single day, that was my focus, just to educate myself around personal finance. And I've just been listening to things in as much detail as I can every spare second and trying to learn different ways that different people do things so that I can kind of find the way that's going to best suit me and my own personality. So after consuming so many different ways of how other people do their budgeting and stuff, I've decided that the best way for me is to run myself like I'm a business. My whole life is going to be run like a business and like it's one big profit and loss statement. Profitable business, guess what? They grow, they continue to build wealth, and that is exactly what I want for in my personal life. Okay, so this is my fancy schmancy new spreadsheet and I'm very excited with it. Hopefully after about 3 months' time, I'm going to have some pretty good data of here and be able to budget a little bit more accordingly. So if there's anything in here that you think looks a bit off, don't judge. It's a work in progress. Down the bottom here, just so you can see, there's actually a calendar here for a page for every single month of the year. So once you've been doing this for a few months, how fantastic to be able to go back through so easily and look at all the other months. But mine will obviously start from May. Now, the financial overview here, this will update as you go, and basically it's just an overview of all these other categories that you're seeing below. You can already see mine is actually in the red here because there's expenses that have been budgeted for, but I haven't actually budgeted any income in this bit yet. Down the bottom here is the section where you put your income. So This is, I get paid weekly by my eBay. So I'm putting in May, there's 5 weeks that I'm going to get paid. Plus I've got some money coming in from some coaching. I've got my YouTube pay, which gets paid on May the 22nd. And then I've got a section here for others that could be like Facebook Marketplace or just any other small bits of money that are coming in. That's where I'm going to enter that. May the 1st, which is today, expected eBay income, not very much because I've been a bit slack because I went away to Queensland last week and I've had some time off this week. So deliberate time off, guys. So let's just say I estimate $3,000 for the week. Let's just say for the purposes of this spreadsheet, the actual is 2,800. I haven't quite looked what it is. That's telling me there's a difference there from my expected to my actual of $200, but you can see that it's updating up here as well. So it's telling me that I've got that $200 difference there. Down here in the section here, I am basically now running my life like a big P&L, like a profit and loss statement. I'm combining my spreadsheet here with my business expenses and my personal because my brain only has the capacity to look at it once. I don't want to be doing a business one and a personal one. I just kind of want to look at my life as an overall at the moment. So I have divided it here though. I've got the fixed business expenses and the fixed personal expenses. And basically here under my business, I've got my warehouse rent, my car loan, my car insurance, my Telstra, which if you're not Australian, that is my mobile phones and my home internet services combined. Got Adobe Photoshop, which I use for thumbnails for my YouTube. I've got StreamYard, which is used for YouTube, Google Storage, which is like cloud storage, Spotify for my educational playlists, and inventory. Now, inventory, I have talked to Technsports about this, my mentor, and he has told me that I need inventory to be in there as a fixed expense, not a variable. And the reason for that is we should all know what our fixed expense is on our inventory, because this is if you're a reseller, you work it out how many items you want to list every single week, how much your average cost of goods is, and you should have a total of how much you should be spending on inventory that week. So for me, I'm budgeting $500 a week, $2,000 a month, although I do have 5 pays in this one, so I should change that to $2,500 for this month. But generally, it's going to be $500 a week. These are all, except for the inventory one, the everything else I've got set up here as a direct debit. So it automatically gets direct debited on these days from my business bank account, from the business checking account, I guess you would call it. The inventory one, I am transferring it over to a separate bank account that I've set up just for the inventory. So hopefully, that inventory account stays. That way it just keeps me really focused on how much I'm spending on the inventory. Down here, my personal expenses, again, these are all direct debited from my account. I put my house rent in here twice because I do pay it fortnightly. So I just wanted to be able to check that off. That is probably my most important expense at the moment is the house rent, making sure that's on time and not missed. So I just put it in there separately so I can double check it's coming out of the bank statement fine. There's been no problems with the direct debit and I can tick it off. See how they've got these little tick marks next to it? So you can tick it off when it's been paid. I love that. I've got my daughter's gym membership, my home insurance, and my electricity. Electricity isn't really a fixed bill. However, I am paying a fixed amount of $50 a week direct debit too. And I guess there's 5 weeks in this month. So again, I should change that. I have to alternate that. But I am doing $50 a week. I've just moved into this house. I've got no idea how much the electricity is going to cost in this house. Obviously, I've got less people living in this house than my old one as well. So it's a bit of a numbers game at the moment, a bit of a guess. I'm going to estimate that much. I might be way off. It's coming up winter. We're going to be using the heater a lot more. Watch and see. Watch and see. Okay, so down here we've got the expenses here. I have put a little couple lines here between the business ones that I know of and the personal. Business, I've put in my petrol, my shipping. My shipping is roughly about 15. The last Q1 was about 15,000 for my shipping, so I've put it down there as 5,000 a month. Sounds so much money. It is a lot of money, guys, but it is what it is. Padded mailers, I've just done a bulk order of padded mailers, so I know that I don't need to order any more this month. But if I do run out of a box or two of the larger size or anything, that's where they'll go. Shrink wrap for my bundles, shipping labels, and packing tape. All of these I've just restocked, so I'm not expecting to have to add any of those this month. Okay, under my personal groceries, I've estimated $1,200. I think that's probably ridiculous. I know that I overspend on my groceries and my takeaway, don't judge. And I think by doing this spreadsheet and tracking every dollar every day for a few months, it's going to really make me conscious of how much I'm spending on groceries and food. So I've also put takeaway as $500 for the month. I would suspect I normally spend more than that, but when you do takeaway for all your kids, like it's expensive. It cost me like $80 just to go down to Macca's. Like it's ridiculous. Anyway, coffee, I have budgeted $175 a month, and I dare say it's normally more than that. I'm hoping. It's quite scary when you look it all up, guys, and you go, wow, do I really spend that amount of money on coffee? Like $175 is really only one coffee a day with the odd maybe number two. So I've done a column here for hair and beauty, a column for my daughter's school lunches. I've got a health section here for if we need to go to the doctors, the entertainment section, clothing, gifts. My water bill is here. Since moving into this house, one, I don't know when I get charged for my water bill, and two, I don't know how much it is because I'm only renting, I only pay a portion of it. So that's going to be a little bit of a wait and see when that comes in. And then I've put the miscellaneous here. There's probably more categories here that I need, but to be honest, like I've not tracked, and I'm just going to track as I go. And then after a few months, hopefully I'll get a better idea of what I'm actually spending my money on. Over here, we've got our savings. Now, these savings I've set up separate bank accounts for. So I've got multiple bank accounts going, guys. So I've set up a separate bank account for my car rego and car servicing. Now, car registration, I just paid that last month. It was $1,200. Works out to be about $100 a month. And then there's car services. Obviously, I commute to work every day. I do a lot of kilometers, and I need to have car services more regularly than other people. So I've estimated a couple of thousand for my car services and tires, $1,000 for like my rego or something. So it was similar. I've budgeted about an account with about $3,000. So $300 a month can go into that account, and that should cover me for all car expenses. I've set up account for my tax and my GST. It's actually one account where I'm combining them, but I'm going to keep it separate in the spreadsheet just so I know what is what. GST, if you're not Australian, is a goods and service tax of 10% that we have to pay when we earn over a certain amount of money on all goods and services. Now, my superannuation, otherwise known as like a 401k, that is saving for retirement. Put a budget here of $500, which is $100 a week each pay. It is not enough money. Please don't judge me or slam me in the comments. I'm well aware that $500 a month is not enough to be putting into my retirement fund, but I'm just trying to get my head around this, guys, and I haven't been paying any superannuation for the last year. So if I can pay $500 a month, that's a big step up than what I've actually been contributing, which is nothing. So that is a work in progress. I would like to increase that. It is part of the goal. $500 is the budget for this month. I've also set myself up an emergency account. Now, I would like to build my emergency account to 3 months worth of expenses. And going off my spreadsheet and everything like this, I would estimate that each month is going to cost me at least $20,000. I'm not for business and personal, this is. So I'm not 100% sure. 60,000 sounds like an a lot of money to be saving for an emergency account. So what I've done is I've actually set myself a goal of saving 20,000 into an emergency account. I have been able to set $2,000 as a buffer to start that account. So there is $2,000 in my emergency account, and my goal is to get that to 20,000. And then once I've got my goal to 20,000, I'm going to reassess and set myself a higher goal to be able to increase that emergency account. I've also made myself a Christmas account, which I would like to have a few thousand in it by Christmas, and a travel account, which will probably be the least of the priorities there, to be honest, guys, sadly. But the travel account, I need to have it there as like as a goal, as motivation, as, like a vision board. By having the travel on there, even if no money goes into that each month for a few months, it's there. It's telling me that I want to have money in a travel account. So that's why I've done it. And then there's a debt section here. Guys, I am coming out of my divorce debt-free. Everything has been paid off in the settlement. The only debt I do have is my car loan. However, I've put that over here as a fixed business expense because it is a business car loan, and it's coming out there as a direct debit. So I've kind of, whether or not that car loan should have been in the debt section or on the bill section, I've put it on my bill section. You can see here, so like today, my warehouse rent came out. So that was $300. It's always going to be the same. It's direct debit. Oops, you can just click that off. So we'll just go down here. This morning, I had my morning coffee. So I can enter my first daily tracking expense. We just double click here. We go on to the first. The amount was $5.25. I can do the drop down here as coffee. There it is. If I wanted to write a description there about what it was, if I was unclear, I could, but I think coffee is pretty self-explanatory. And now as I start implementing these things, these little graphs over here are going to change. So it's going to start telling me this pie chart will change, obviously, as I start adding in these expenses. And by the end of the month, I'll be able to look here and see where I was spending the most money via a graph. So it gives me that visual view of how I'm spending my money. And I can also sit down here. The budget, this is just basically telling me the pie graph here, the budget name. And again, this is coming up with my days of exactly how much money that I have spent. So it's telling me income in, income out, balance for each particular day. So I can stay on top of my daily balance. Then up there, these incomes are going to keep changing. So yep, the total expenses was my warehouse rent and my coffee. My total income in was this much. I've got this much left to spend, basically. So I don't really have that much to spend, guys. It's not like I can go on a shopping spree because I've got all these other expenses. So this is this. So down the bottom, there's a few different tabs down here. There's the savings and the debt tracker, which again, I've just gone in. These are the separate savings accounts that I've set up. And it's basically what I was just talking about before here, car rego, the tax, GST, and then it's basically coming up with your monthly. If you want to put in a monthly amount, I'm not going to set an actual budget for some of these, like they're there if I've got spare money. That's where I want to put the money. The idea is when I'm running my business here as a profit and loss, I'm going to get to the end of the month and hopefully I'm in some profit, and then I can distribute the money into these savings accounts on where I need to put some of this money and prioritize it. So yeah, again, shows you little pie graphs and stuff. You can change the colors of all these if you want to. There's also a calendar section down here. So you can go in here and you can just put down like, yep, these are the days my warehouse is there. I can tick it off. It's done. I can also use this just as a to-do list. So because I'm looking at my spreadsheet daily, it might be great for me to start using this calendar as an actual to-do list and tick things off, because for somebody with my type of personality, it's actually very good to be able to tick things off and actually visually see that it's done. There is a tab for the debt snowball. Now, obviously, I don't have any debt. Yay me, first time ever. But if you did have some debt, the idea is hopefully you can snowball that debt. There's lots of ways that they say that you can snowball. I'm pretty sure the most common one is you start at the smallest debt you have paid off and then start working on the next one and the next one and the next one. Some people do it just by the smallest one. Some people do it by the one that's charging the most interest. If I had debt, for me, I would just prefer to work off the smallest debt because I like to tick things off because it makes me feel like I'm achieving something and I'm being productive, and then it gives me more motivation to get stuck into the next one. But yeah. And then there is a net worth dashboard here where you can update your liabilities, your bank accounts, your investments. So I haven't started with that one. I'm just guys, there's a lot for me to take in just trying to learn this. So I'm pretty excited, but I think this is going to be really really good. It's going to keep me, I will have to come in here and keep tracking this every evening or every couple of days. And I've set up, like in the notes section of my phone, while I'm out and about, I am going to be, I mean, I can just look at the bank account, but otherwise I've just been kind of like making a mental note in my phone, like, okay, we're going to start tracking coffee, $5.25. It's just going to keep me constantly being conscious of how much I'm spending and getting ready to start looking at this like every day possible. So, yeah. And so I really like these little tick boxes, but because, yeah, like I said, I like to tick it off. And then at the end of the month, you can carry these across to the next month as well. So that's my spreadsheet. So the last couple of months, but especially the last month, while I've been engrossed in learning about personal finance, has become very clear to me that the people who are tracking have a budget, who know where their money is going in and out, who know the inside outs of their businesses. They track absolutely everything to a point, or they have tracked everything to a point where now they don't need to track any longer. But those people who are constantly aware of where they're spending and what they're doing and where their money is and saving money, those people are more successful, and those people are the ones who are building wealth and creating wealth. And there's no doubt about it. Like, if you don't know where your money's going, you're just setting yourself up to fail. I've done that for too long, guys, now. I've been oblivious to all this. I've had my head in the sand. No more. I'm here to learn, and I'm here to do the hard yards. So I think in the past, I've probably been a little bit afraid to acknowledge the financial situation that I've been in. Sometimes it's been hard. Like, if you've got debt there, it feels really hard to be able to start a budgeting plan when you're in debt. It just feels like such a burden and so hard to get on top. And there's no easy way to start. There's no easy way to do it. You've got to get real with your numbers. This has been mind-blowing for me when I actually set it all down on paper and started like adding it all in. And there's so many expenses that still aren't even in this that I know that will pop up and arise. And it is honestly scary having to look at these numbers and acknowledge them. Like, there's levels of fear that pop up, and there's those issues of, can I do this? Am I good enough? I can't succeed. And so these are all the reasons why we often throw our head in the sand, and you know, quite often we're embarrassed about our money situations as well. There's no magic pill to get out of it. Like, the only way is to just start taking control. And if you are not in control of your money, like I haven't been in control of my money, I highly recommend that start this with me now. Like, start this financial journey at the same time as me, and imagine where we're all going to be at the end of 6 months. Imagine where we'll be at the end of the year if we take charge of this now, coming in with like 7 months to go to the end of 2024. Like, we could then go into 2025 like as whole new people. So dealing with money, it's confronting, it's scary. I'm right here alongside anyone that's going through it as well. It's not easy. I will say, and I will be transparent, I am kind of in a lucky position at the moment that I've just received a financial settlement from selling my old house with my ex-husband. So I have been lucky enough, I guess, to be able to put a little bit of buffers into account. I've been able to set aside $2,000 into an emergency account to start that off, to start growing it. I've been able to set a couple of $1,000s in each of my business accounts and my personal accounts, both as buffers to be able to like start this. You know, if you don't have a buffer, it's a little bit harder. I don't know. Like, I just feel like I'm hoping I won't need that buffer, but I'm financially, I've got that buffer there now, and I'm very grateful to have that. And it has taken a little bit of the fear away from me by having that buffer. It's only a small buffer that I've kept there. The rest of the money from my settlement has gone into a long-term high interest account, while I wait to go and see a financial advisor to do that. And that money is going to be saved for me to buy another house down the track. That's going to be my deposit for another house. So that money is untouchable. I've simply just paid off all my debts, left a small buffer in each of the accounts, emergency, business, and personal, and I'm starting a clean slate. done. So that is it. That is my budget spreadsheet for the month. It is a little bit of a trial and error. I'm sure you guys have got some comments and you're going to drop them down below. Please do leave me all your budgeting tips, and me and everybody else that needs budgeting help, because trust me, I am not alone on this. I have been inundated with messages from people who are in similar positions, or people who are just not in control of their own financial situations. So please do, if you are somebody who is really good at this and is, please do share, drop those knowledge bombs down below in the comments. Please don't judge me by how much some of these things cost me. I know some of them are expensive. I know I live in a high cost of rent area where I live. I live in Australia's capital city. We are full of politicians here. It is a very expensive city to live in. My food bill definitely needs adjusting, and I know I could get that down. I hope I can get that down, and I will be making a more conscious effort about that. So, and I'm also aware there's some things in here that I don't have yet that I would like. There's some personal insurances that I would like to get, income insurance, trauma insurance. I don't have those things yet. So they are definitely on my mind. They are definitely things that I want to implement. But honestly, I just don't know where I'm at this point, and I'm still in the process of building the income. But when it's all here on paper, it's much easier to go, whoa, I need more income. And really, instead of focusing on the expenses, really just need to be focusing on getting the income up, because then the expenses don't really matter, does it? If your income is going up and you're being very well aware of the income, where are we? If you're being very well aware of the income, that's the main things for me. Get my eBay income up, get my YouTube income up. They're the two things that, basically I can control that, can't I? If I list more items on eBay, woohoo, guess what? I make more money. If I make more YouTube videos, woohoo, guess what? I make more money. I can control those things. It's just a matter of actually doing. And that's my problem. I procrastinate, I sit on things, I overthink everything. I just got to do. Guys, thank you for watching. The next video is going to be a book vlog. Make sure you stay tuned, and don't forget to come back at the end of the month. I will be sharing an update on this, and you can see just how well I did or whether or not I failed. Okay, guys, thank you. Bye.